Sorry. So we are talking about the life in the U.S. east of the Mississippi River, and we were talking about the metropolitan areas inside the U.S. Then we've talked about the ways of income such as tourism, and we said that tourism is business that provides service for people who are traveling for enjoyment, and these businesses actually are such as restaurants, hotels, resorts, and travel agencies. And also we have compared between New York and Chicago as two big states, and also we have compared between Atlanta and New Orleans as also two big states, and these were the four important states in this area. You can read this part, and if you have any questions, just send me your questions. Today we're talking about the US government. And the US government actually, since they have declared the independence from the Great Britain, they've changed, or the American citizen became free and the independent nation. And it was important for Americans to protect their rights and freedom. That's why the government was designed as representative democracy. So here we have three branches for the government. Who can read and tell me what are the three branches of the government? Who can tell you what are the three branches of the government?
Yes, can I read?
Yes, go ahead.
One of the main functions of the U.S. Constitution is to make sure government power is shared. The men who wrote the Constitution did not want a single person or group to have all the power to make laws and decisions for the country. They divided the government into three separate but equal branches. Each branch has important function, and each branch must work with the other two branches
Please,
to
guys,
govern the
take
country.
notes. Take notes for what Noura says. What are the three branches? Because I'm going to ask you now. Complete, ya Noura.
The three branches, the three parts of the U.S. government are the executive, legislative, and judicial branches. The U.S. government system of shared power was created to ensure that all parts of the government work together in a balance of power. The legislative branch, called the Congress, makes laws for the nation. Congress has two parts: the House of Representatives and the Senate. Members of Congress are elected by the people and come from all 50 states. To pass a law, the House Representative and Senate must agree on what the law states. The executive branch is the office of the President of the United States. The President's main duties are to carry out laws, to lead to the military, to appoint judges to Supreme Court, to plan the national budget, to meet with foreign leaders, and to appoint advisor to help make decisions for the nation. The judicial branch is made up of state and federal courts. The role of the government judicial branch is to decide if laws are fair and if they follow the Constitution. The Supreme Court, with 9 judges called justices, is the most powerful court in America.
All right, guys. So we have been talking about the three branches of the government. Who can tell me what are the three branches of the government? Who can tell me what are the three branches? Yes, Yaward, go ahead.
The executive, the legislative, and the judicial branches.
Yes. What's the job of the executive branch of the government?
To pass laws.
Yes, thank you very much. What about the legislative? Can you tell us, Yaward, about the legislative one?
It makes laws for the nation, and it's also called the Congress, and the Congress has two parts. It has the House of the Representatives and the Senate.
Yes. Thank you very much, Howard. What about the
Yes, I
judicial
know.
one?
The judicial branch approves laws passed by the executive branch.
Yes, the judicial branch actually is made also of the state and the federal courts, and they decide whether the laws are fair for people and the constitution or not. And it is represented in the Supreme Court with 9 judges. They are called justice, the most powerful court in America. Okay. We have actually the government has taken actions that affect the land, and government had taken action that affect the people. Abdurrahman Sobh, could you please read the government actions that have affected the land?
Okay, the three branches of the U.S. government make laws and decisions that affect our nation's land. Some laws and decisions protect the environment. For example, the president has the authority to set aside land for use as national parks. This protects plant and animal habitats and creates recre- recre- recreational areas. Local Local governments enforce laws that reduce water pollution and littering. Another environment program is Superfund. The purpose of the program is to clean up abundant hazardous waste sites. Superfund was implemented after the discovery of toxic waste sites such as Love Canal and the Time Beach in the 1970s. The federal government works in conjunction with the state government and the communities to implement the cleanup plans.
All right, Abdurrahman. So
Please, can I read the part about the government
give me 1 minute
actions?
to explain this part. The government action that have already affected the land, we said that the US government have made laws in order to affect the nation's lands. Actually, some of them were to protect the environment. So the president had the authority to set aside land for use as national parks. So this is rule number one. The president had the right to assign some of the land to be parks to protect the plant and the animal life. This is number one. Number two, also the local governments informs laws and reduce water pollution and littering. Number three, also the Superfund, the Superfund program is to clean the abandoned waste sites. Okay, so these are the three actions that have been taken by the government in order to protect the land, to make national parks, to enforce laws that reduce water pollution, and at the same time, the program which is called the Superfund in order to clean up the waste sites. What about the government actions that have been taken that affect people? Ahmed,
Please,
go
can I
ahead.
read this?
Yes, go ahead.
Some actions of the United States government that affected Native American peoples had severe consequences. Other government actions, such as building roads and bridges, providing aid to people in need, and establishing national parks, help people and enrich our lives. One example of how government actions have affected Americans positively is the civil rights movement. Civil rights are basic rights that belong to all citizens, such as the right to be uh, treated equally under the law. To answer the to answer the demand for civil rights for African Americans, the federal government made laws ending segregation. These laws weren't meant to help people. Some local governments, however, did not agree with these laws and refused to enforce them. Another example of positive action is how the government helps people during emergencies. Government agencies such as the Federal Emergency Management Agency, uh, 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 FEMA, provide food, water, and medical care and transportation to people affected by tornadoes, hurricanes, earthquakes, floods, and terrorist attacks and other disasters. FEMA has saved many lives, but some people claim the agency does too little to help and is slow to respond. When thinking about how government actions affect people and land, it is important to remember that no government is perfect. The US government is made up of many different people doing many different jobs.
So guys, these are mainly some of the most important actions that have been taken by the government that have affected people. Okay, so number one, or one example of these actions, the civil rights or the civil rights movement. Actually, civil rights are the basic rights given to all citizens, that, such as to be treated equally. So the government has made laws, that these laws to help people in order to get their rights and to be free. Number two, okay, is the FEMA, or the Emergency Management Agency, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, which provide food, water, medical care, and transportation for people who were affected by tornadoes, hurricanes, and earthquakes, also floods and terrorist attacks. This is number two. Also, when you think about how the government action people affect the land, it's important to remember when the government is protecting the land, it is also protecting people who, and also provide many jobs for the people to be done in the society. So these are basically some of the rights that have been, or actions that have been taken by the government for people. Okay. Let's move to the next part to talk about religion and ethnicity, then about the economy. Who can read religion and ethnicity? Karim, go ahead. Yalla, Karim, quickly.
Yes. In the United States, the religion with the largest number of followers is Christianity. The influence of the Christian faith in the United States has continued since colonial times. However, many Americans practice the Jewish, Muslim, Buddhist, or Hindu faith. Research research shows that 16% of Americans do not practice in organized religions. Nearly half of all American adults say they have changed their faith or beliefs at least once in their lives. In gathering population statistics, the Census Bureau classifies the people of the United States into several different categories. The most recent data collected from the 2010 census shows shows that um, four most populous ethnic groups are um, Caucasian, Latino, African American, and Asian American. In the last two censuses, people of Hispanic or Latin American origin comprised the second largest ethnic group after Caucasian. In the census of 1990s, African Americans made up the second most populous group.
So if we are talking about the different religions that are practiced in United States, you'll find many religions because we have many ethnic groups that are living there. For example, we have Christian, we have Muslims, we have Jewish, Buddhist, Hindu faith, and other religions. Also, if we're talking about the population in general, you'll find that we have many ethnicities that are living there. You'll find African American, Asian American, you'll find Arabs, you'll find Latin Americans. So it is combination of many religions and many ethnic groups. What about the economy? Who can read about the economy?
Miss, can I?
Okay, go ahead.
America has one of the largest and strongest economies in the world. Advancements in technology help keep industries such as farming and manufacturing productive. The U.S. economy has slowed in the past decade. However, many Americans remain unemployed. It could take years for the economy and employment rate to rebound. Agriculture has long been an important industry. Today, the business of farming and raising animals for food are changing. Farms owned and operated by families are being replaced by corporate farms. They are managed by people who do not own or live on the land. Some Americans believe the growth of corporate farms is bad for the economy and nation's people. They believe corporate farms agree to sell crops to large grocery store chains at such low prices that family farms cannot compete. A growing number of Americans now support organic farming. Organic farms use only natural pesticides and fertilizers. Some people believe that organically grown foods are safer and healthier than foods that have been treated with chemicals. In the late 1800s and early 1900s, the U.S. shifted away from an agriculture-based economy to a more industrial economy. Factories producing automobiles, appliances, machinery, electronics, and other items have employed millions of Americans. During the late 1980s, however, the manufacturing industry began to weaken. Bus- Businesses closed and factories were abandoned. Workers lost their jobs. So many factories closed across the Midwest, the Mid-Atlantic, and New England as these areas earned the nickname the Rust Belt. In recent years, more Americans have found jobs in service industries. Service industries are businesses that provide services rather than products. Children care centers, restaurants, grocery stores, hair salons, electricians, electric, electricians, moving companies, and auto repair shops are some of the examples of service industries. Other industries such as finance, insurance, and education will still provide many jobs and revenue today. Many businesses, including banks and insurance companies, are located in the cities east of the Mississippi River. Different types of industries are important to the economy of the eastern U.S. today. Another shift is taking place as the nation moves from a service-based economy to an economy that is connected to the computer information age.
So if we are talking about the economy, you'll find that America has one of the largest, strongest economies in the world. You'll find that they have started with working in farming, then they have continued to manufacturing and selling the products from their farming, and also they have gone to the organic farming as a very important way of farming because it provides natural products for people. This is number one. Number two, they have worked when they have gone way and the economy became, people became a lot. They have gone way to also provide the people with the opportunity of selling their products from farming. This is number two. Also, you'll find that a part of the United States is mainly agricultural place, and some of it are including taking care of the banking and service industries and stuff like this. And also, he said that the Rust Belt is the nickname for the New England area or the Mid Atlantic. And he said that service industries that are businesses that will provide services than other products. So the economy is divided among the services and the products. The products will be provided by farming and manufacturing and industry. But you'll find that service industries, which are very common in the developed countries, that provide services for people other than products, such as banking, different types of industries. So economy is very important, and because they are very rich in economy, it provides a high standard of living for people. Okay, so what's the difference between service industries and manufacturing industries? Who can tell me? What's the difference between service industries and manufacturing industries? Who knows? Please raise hands. What's the difference between service industries and manufacturing industries from what you read? Let's see. Karim? Karim?
Yes.
Tell me what the difference between service industry and the manufacturing industry.
Service industries are business that provide services
such as
rather than products.
yes, thank you very much, Karim. Yes. But what about the manufacturing industry? Thank you, Karim. Ward, can you tell us about manufacturing industries?
Yes, miss. Manufacturing industries are uh, businesses that
It's the opposite of the it's the opposite of the service industries. Service industries
yes,
gives us services, huh?
they are businesses that provide products
Yes,
instead of services,
yes,
not
thank
like
you very
service
much.
industries.
Thank you very much. Such as manufacturing, but service industries such as banking. Okay, this is what I want from this part, to know that US has one of the most important or the most rich economies all around the world. They have started with farming as one way of to renew their economy. Then they have sold their products from farming as a way of gaining more money for their economy, but actually some workers have been losing their jobs after working in factories that has been closed in the Midwest. And this area was named the Rust Belt, but they have provided another way of or different way of getting income, which is service industries. And what are service industries? They are providing people with services more than products, such as finance, insurance, banking, and so on. Okay, this is the end of the lesson. Anyone want to ask any question about the lesson? Does anyone want to ask any question
No.
about the lesson, about the assignments, about the quiz?
No, miss,
No.
thank you.
Okay, see you inshallah next week. If you have any questions, just ask me. I'm waiting for your questions. Yalla. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, miss.
Bye.